You live in Duluth, Minnesota, and probably on the ocean. I would guess this is probably true too, although there's maybe some other more complicated things going on with the ocean. So I'm not going to say that. But in Duluth, Minnesota here, and probably anywhere on the Great Lakes, you've probably noticed that whenever you go, and by the way, most of the time it is super icy cold, even in the winter here. But you will notice sometimes when there's a big wave, a big wind that's blowing toward the shore, like on Park Point or Wisconsin Point, that there'll be giant waves coming toward the shore, and let's say it's during the summer, that if you go in the water, it'll actually be somewhat comfortable, it'll be actually kind of warm. And you kind of wonder, like, and different people had asked me about that before, and I had asked, and for a while I couldn't actually find any actual information about it. Maybe it's just because I didn't know this word downwelling, that when I Google searched, I couldn't find it. But I haven't really heard many people specifically talk about it about Duluth. So here you go. This is probably the most definitive video that's ever been made about this, about Duluth downwelling and upwelling, which is the opposite. Okay, just to show my cute little animation that I made. I made this a while ago for some blog I was doing for someone, but then that web page is done, so I'm kind of repurposing it for this. So you're the first ones who've seen this for a while. So anyway, yeah. So basically, what happens is, yeah. So you know that usually the surface temperature is always going to be warmer. That little bit is going to be warmer than the core temperature. So down here deep, it's going to be like 40 degrees or 45 year round, whatever. But when you get near the surface, you can have a small little area where the water is warm up here. Now, depending on how it gets churned up, obviously you can see that, like, sometimes you can have the surface of the water be quite warm, although the bottom, doesn't get is still cold, because maybe if it's been calm for a while. And I think during those times you're not going to get much of that coolness that comes off the lake, because then it's like, because if as long as the surface is hot, it's going to keep the coolness, or for the lake, it's going to keep the cooling effect of the lake away, because that top layer of surf is hot. So anyway, all right, but that's neither here nor there. But sometimes you can have a day where there's, just it gets really a lot of sunshine, it gets really hot that day, and that surface gets really warmed up, and then you have the next day a big wind. And I actually had that happen once, and I think it was actually was it late April or May? But anyway, it was still pretty cold, even on the bay. But I was doing something out. I had some kind of like those waders on. Anyway, but okay. So what it was is, it was got really unusually hot the day before. Then the day after, there was a big wind coming into that little bay there at the Park Point launch point. And yeah, and the water was like really warm, I remember. So that's an example of this. So yeah, so anyway, so what it does is, yeah, so with downwelling, it's simply the wind comes along, creates the waves, and also you see this warm water gets pushed down and gets kind of stuck in here, kind of like on that shelf there area. And that's downwelling, so that's simple. So yeah, you're right. And I did actually talk to, and I have in my newspaper article in the Reader Weekly, I actually have some quotes by that. Um, I don't know about this, but at least about some other stuff. NOAA meteorologist Carol Christensen. Now, I don't know if she still works there or not, but I'm, assuming she probably does. But it's been a while since I talked to her. And anyway, you could actually call her up at NOAA here in Duluth at any time you want to just ask about the. And I a couple times called her up and said, "Hey, you mind if I just do record you for a little, like, interview, for my little blog I was doing?" And then she said, "Yeah, that's fine." And then, so anyway, but I put that information, like, in this in the Reader Weekly. Like, hopefully he's going to put it on the website too. But if not, it's going to be in this week of the. Actually, I think it might be like next week's, actually, because I think I already turned in another one. Okay, so anyway, it's going to be really soon. Just keep reading that in for my stuff in there, because not all my stuff makes it on the website. So anyway, all right. So there's downwelling. Then the opposite is actually, if the wind's blowing the other way, it's upwelling. So it's pushing that warm part away, that warm surface. See that? And then that cold, really cold water. So it's going to be, you know, um, so anyway, yeah, so that's simply how it works. And I know which that seems like common sense, but I wanted to actually have it confirmed by an expert. But if you look up upwelling and downwelling on Google now, you'll probably, find a lot of results for that. But it was just, anyway. So I hope this was kind of informational for you. And you can also, like I said, like, read the, my business column in the Reader Weekly, where I put, it's a business column, but I linked to a lot of other kind of things like science and other kind of things to, oh, what happened there? That was kind of weird. Okay. I see what happened there. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys. Enjoy the video.